Ta-da! Here we are, the live stream on Sunday, what is it, 29th today? It is, in the future, Sunday the 29th of November 2020. The year of COVID, but that's a whole different story, isn't it? So, Girl Holley is around. She's in the hotel at the moment, and she'll be down a bit later on in this live stream to answer some questions. So, hang in there, that's the plan. We did try to get her in on a live stream last time she was down, but the weather was horrific. It is actually raining at the moment. But we also worked very, very late the previous night making a video. So she had a bit of a lie-in and didn't make the live stream. But this time she reckons she will. So fingers crossed. I've got me coffee. It's nice and hot. And I've got me pie. Look at that. It's massive. It's a huge pie. And I even kept the bag, just so you know, because I've not had one of these before, and I wasn't too sure. It's all I had, actually. I wasn't too sure what you like. It's called Mrs. Max Mega Beef and Cheese Pie. How's that? I mean, I don't think it's going to compare to one of those BP ones that I get from Wild Bean Cafe. But, you know, we'll find out, won't we? Very hot. Right. Let me just get set up on my live stream. Huh. Oh,
this season,
jeez, you don't want that.
Special with the
Golly gosh. Far too many adverts these days on YouTube. So, Kill Switch. Hello, hello, hello. In a very French accent. Morning, Kill Switch. Rose Ironworks. Boo. Magma on Switch. Hi, Andy. Rose Ironworks. Good evening. Good evening, Rose Ironworks. Jim K is back in the workshop. Good morning, Jim. Mike Botansky. Good day from Virginia. Nice pie. Mike. Good segue. Cheers for that, mate. Sorry, bits of pie everywhere. The Andy Mechanic mugs. These mugs. Okay. Had a little chat with Zazzle earlier in the week, and they're like, no, you haven't got permission to use the Forge logo. No, you haven't got permission to use the Tang Tools logo. No, you haven't got permission to use the Pico Technologies logo. No, you haven't got permission to use Nobby. No, you haven't got permission to use the YouTube logo. And I'm like, well, actually, I have. And I've already told you. And they wouldn't listen. So screw Zazzle, to be honest. Not very impressed at all with their services. We're not too far away with getting the Andy Mechanic website up and running, so orders can be done direct. So I'll just order a lot of mugs and we'll just ship them out from here. Honestly, some people, some companies, does my head in. So Mike, thanks for the heads up. You're absolutely right. At the moment, they've put a block on these mugs, and I really like these mugs. And they've also put a block on anything that's got the same. I think it's the thermo mug with this pattern on as well, this logo stuff. So they're not happy bunnies, and for some unknown reason, they're just not listening to me. I've told them, I've sent them emails showing I've got permission to use these logos from the various companies, not accepting it. So, you know, don't really make any money out of it. It was done for the viewers. So it's sort of left a bitter taste in my mouth, to be honest. They make plenty of money out of it, I'm sure they do. But that's their problem now. Oh, that's a lot better. Don't have it too hot. Rose Ironworks. Bye! Yes, it is. Brian Pin. Evening, Andy, from wet North Devon in the UK. Well, Brian, it's also pretty wet here. Only started to rain about half an hour ago, and it is due to rain for most of the day, which isn't going to do the audio too much good for the second day of filming with Holly. We have been flat out getting our DR200 frame swapped across and all the bits and pieces. We did pretty well yesterday. First two videos went really well. That involved swapping the triple clamps, you know, the steering head bearings that they got installed, the forks went on, the front mud guard went on and stuff. Pretty simple work. Second video was actually transplanting the engine from the old frame to the new one. Yeah, that went pretty well too, actually. Just we had a bit of an issue aligning one of the bolts for the engine mount, but we got there in the end. Didn't want to damage the paint. And then the third video was doing the rear suspension linkage bush stroke bearing replacement. That didn't quite go to plan. It really didn't. And I was in the workshop very early this morning doing a bit of rectification work. So you'll have to watch the video when it comes out. I don't know when they're going to come out because I've got to leave for the South Island tomorrow morning, first thing, and I'm gone for 3 weeks. So you're going to get bombarded by live streams. I think we're going to call it Andy's South Island pub crawl. I think that works pretty good, doesn't it? So we're going to be doing, the plan is, I can't guarantee it'll be every night, but the plan is to do a live stream from a pub every night, or most nights, somewhere in the South Island, provided the signal. So we'll find out. That's a lot of live streams, actually. That's like, there's going to be at least 10, maybe 15 live streams. That's mental. But as soon as I get back on the 17th or the 18th of December, I will crack on with editing up videos. And we'll get those, the ones that we're filming this weekend, out to you guys. Oh my word. Akiled, is that right? I'm not doing the whole name. Akiled, hi. Good morning. Oh, Khaled. Khaled, oh there. Khaled, hi. Good morning, Khaled. Ken Pickerel. Hi, Andy. Good day from Indiana. Wow, we'll get people from all over the place, don't we? Daz, 323323. Morning, Andy. Good morning, Daz. Great to have you on board, mate. Simon Rawl, good evening. Good evening, Simon. Thanks for joining us, mate. Garth May, here he is. Morning, team. Morning, Garth. And, let me take this opportunity, Garth, to thank you for all the explicit messages and gifs and photos that you send me on a regular basis. It makes me laugh and chuckle and brings a smile to my face. Obviously, clearly, nothing that I could ever share with anybody else on the planet, but interesting stuff. Kill Switch BB. Pub crawl. Yeah, I think it could be quite good. The pie is going well. I'm not too sure on the cheese. It tastes very, how can I put it? What's the word? Not natural, sort of processed. That's the word, isn't it? Oh well. It's not bad though, otherwise. Connor K. Good morning, Connor. Hey, Andy. Glad I got my mug before it all hit the fan. I know. I was very upset, to be honest, Connor. But we've had a bit of a run-in with them previously. And I've sort of won that one to some extent. And then they flared up again and, they've got everything they need, but they just weren't listening to me. So there's plenty of other companies out there. I'll work something out. It's not the end of the world. Just made a big batch of engine room chili. Good man. Hot and thick. Cooks all day in a slow cooker. Good stuff. Those slow cookers are great for us guys because you just chuck it in and walk away and have a few beers, don't you? And you can come back at any point and it's cooked. Rose Ironworks. We used to be able to get to pubs in the UK. Oh, they were the days. Oh. I'm sorry, mate. It is really bad over in England at the moment, isn't it? Talking about that, I mean, here in New Zealand, and I deal with the public, during the week, day job and all that, customers. It does seem that some customers in New Zealand, and I'm not going to go into specifics because it could get me into a lot of trouble, but some customers here in New Zealand, and Ben sees the same thing from his, from his job doing the bicycle repairs and stuff. These customers just seem to be absolutely oblivious to A, what's going on around the world, and it's pretty serious, I'm sure you'll all agree. But B, the effects that the disruption it's causing to, manufacturing, transport, international freight. It's just unprecedented what's going on. I mean, we have a problem here in New Zealand, which is pretty much to do with where we are in the world. We're in the middle of frigging nowhere, to be honest. And Auckland's ports now, or in fact, I think the ports of New Zealand now in general, but this is specifically Auckland, there is a 10-day delay. So imagine a container ship comes in, gets told to park up for 10 days before we'll start to unload you. Well, it costs, I'm sure Connor will agree, it costs a lot of money for one of those ships. And for every day that it's in dock, not really doing anything other than waiting to be unloaded, that's a serious amount of money that they're going to get charged, and they're not earning revenue. Plus, it's going to delay the rest of the trip. And that's not good, because there's other containers on there for other countries around the world that are maybe time dependent. So it's turned out that quite a few container vessels have decided, because of this 10-day delay at the moment, not to bother to come to New Zealand. They've just set off from Australia and gone, well, you know what, let's just carry on and miss out New Zealand. I know we've got a load of containers for there on board, but we can't afford to hang around for 10 days, and it might be longer than 10 days. It might be 2 weeks. You know, things could get worse. So a lot of the freight that we're getting across, it has to come via sea freight, because there's bugger all airplanes in the sky at the moment. DHL, I believe, have actually chartered specific commercial flights just to move their stuff around for customers, whereas normally it would just go on board as additional freight in a passenger airliner. But there aren't any passenger airliners around. They're all grounded, so pretty much all grounded. They're just bringing in the ones that, well, anyway, that's a different story. But yeah, I mean, it is just mind-blowing what's going on, and obviously this is causing massive delays on getting stuff. You know, I was speaking to Girl Holley yesterday about various phones. She's looking for a new phone, but there's no stock. There aren't any. You can't, the particular ones she wants, you can't get any more. There's, you know, they're either not being made, the New Zealand's run out of stock. It's just, the answer is no, you can't have one. Parts, you know, trying to find parts. I mean, we've seen it with the projects that I'm doing. I'm still waiting for the parts for the front brake on the CB750. I ordered those over a month ago. Still not here. I was told 2 weeks. Am I quibbling? No, I'm not, because the world has turned to shit. We've just got to suck it up and get on with it, you know. But hopefully those parts will arrive at some point. But man, it really frustrates me when you get a customer ranting on about the fact that his bike's taken twice as long to get fixed and it's still not ready yet. You know, it's like, mate, just open your eyes. There's parts coming from all over the world to fix your bike, or ATV or ROV or whatever it is. Don't go blaming us, the motorcycle shop that you're using to fix your bike. It's not their fault that their suppliers can't supply, and it's not the supplier's fault they can't supply. The fact is, the parts that you ordered are sat in a container that's just done a loop of the world, and it's gone off on a joyride. It's missed being dropped off. Whose fault is that? Sure as hell isn't the motorcycle shops. Anyway, I have a rant every now and again, don't I? But my opinion is, it's going to get a hell of a lot worse before it gets any better. And I'm talking about, oh, more pie. I'm talking about parts supply and goods in general. Especially for a country like New Zealand, we are highly dependent on imports. We don't manufacture bugger all in this country. It has to come in. There's quite a few countries like that now around the world. And, well, it's just not coming in. Or if it does, there's months and months and months of delay. I mean, New Zealand's not expecting the next stock of bicycles until May next year. That's just crazy. Now, sorry crew, I'm just going to scroll back up. Oh, there we go, look. Simon, damn live streams and I will be at work. Oh, sorry, Simon. I mean, it'll be, yeah, you will. I mean, it might be 6 p.m. New Zealand time. You know, maybe 5:30 earliest, just depending on what time I arrive and I finish for the day. Or it might be a lot later. It might be like 9 p.m. So But it won't be in my mornings, so that's obviously your evenings. Which isn't bad. I'd give it 8 out of 10. I would. Ooh. Purple Monkey, 1974. Hi from Hampshire. I've not been to Hampshire for a long time. Welcome aboard, Purple Monkey. Blackfoot, good evening from Belgium. I like Belgium. Belgium's got... I went to the... Where was it? I think my brother lived in Belgium for a while. And we did a motorcycle trip around Europe. And the plan was, because it wasn't the EU, you know, the plan was to visit as many countries in 2 weeks as we could on the bikes and not go through any passport control. That was fun. So it meant we had to ride, you know, up into the mountains because, you know, a lot of Europe, the borders of each country is a mountain range, which is pretty cool. So we had to find the old sort of traders routes over the mountains. So we're doing a lot of research on maps and stuff and using GPS. We managed to get to 13 different countries without passing through any passport control, which was brilliant. We had so much fun. Always watching over our back, waiting to get bloody arrested, but it was all right. That's good. Now then, David Eagleton. Good morning from Riddle, Oregon, USA. Riddle, that's a cool name for a place. Hope your coffee is hot. Well, actually, it's cooling down. It's not in my thermo mug, unfortunately. There's going to be bits of pie all over the place in a minute. You wait. Now then, Scott Cali. There we go. Hello from Norway. Hope your family is doing well in these corona epidemic days. In all honesty, New Zealand really isn't the problem. We are incredibly fortunate over here to the point where the vast majority of people don't even talk about it anymore. We just get on with our daily lives, and I think the only real restriction at the moment is in Auckland. If you're on public transport, you've got to wear a mask. That's about it. Obviously, there's people coming into the country. We had is it the African cricket team or South African cricket teams come in, and yeah, a few of them tested positive, and then they couldn't play. I think, I don't know, but you know, in general, things aren't too bad. The only time it really sort of hits the news is if somebody decides to escape quarantine and go on a bit of a wander. Connor K. Here we go. Thanks, Connor. Holding the ships for 10 days is total BS. Keep in mind that those ship crews have been quarantined for a long time due to being at sea whilst transiting from port to port. Is that the reason, Connor, that they're being stopped for 10 days? Because I was under the impression it was just there was too much going on. I don't know. I mean, or whether there was short-staffed at the docks because of restrictions or because of... I actually don't know the reason why they're being held up. But, I mean, end of the day, they don't have to get off the boat, do they? They could pull in, you know, put the handbrake on, let the lads with the craney things get the containers off, peep, peep, and off we go again. You know, do they really need to get off the ship? Do they have to have any face-to-face contact with anybody on the port? They could probably do something where they don't have to do all of that. Yes, it would be nice to get off the ship and pop into town and get some shopping, but do they have to do that for the operation? Probably not. In which case, a 10-day quarantine thing is pointless, in my opinion. Not necessary. I will investigate more. I don't have any contacts at the docks, but I'll try and find something out. Rose Ironworks. Some people are just ignorant and are likely to be the ones driving the R factor. I'm sure you're right. Does my head in. Right, off-road fan. Good evening. Good evening, off-road fan. Thanks for joining us this morning. Rose Ironworks, Connor K. It's not BS, I assure you. Okay. Simon Roll. Back order on parts are not too bad in the UK. 6 days to some Honda parts from Holland Depot. That's all right. 6 days is fine. I mean, those parts, like I say, have been about a month. I'm not worried. I've had a similar delay on some parts, more parts for Holley's DR200. A couple of mud guards and bits and pieces just to smarten it up. I'm not worried. It'll happen when it happens. I've got way too much other stuff to be working through at the moment. I'm way behind on my jobs. Machine NZ. Good morning, Machine NZ. Hi, Andy. From a very wet New Plymouth. Yeah, I bet it is over there. The pie's getting messy. Always seems to happen near the end of the pie. I don't know how you guys can cope with watching me eat the pie, to be honest. I was expecting lots of complaints. Purple Monkey, 1974. Do you ever return to the UK or are you banned? Oh, let's just say I'm banned. That'd be easier, wouldn't it? Rather than going into some great details as to why I've not gone back to the UK, let's just go straight to the point. It's not going to happen. Mark R. Hi from Dublin, Andy. Do you know if modern Alfa Romeos 156 suffer from rust issues as those from the 70s ones are rust buckets? Mine just failed the MOT due to a hole in the floor. No mechanic would touch it. Too much hassle. What? Just a little hole in the floor? That's ridiculous. A lot of cars, especially the imported cars, back in the 70s and early 80s even, but especially the 70s, weren't very well rust protected for use in the UK. England puts a lot of salt on the roads during the winter time, or they certainly used to do back then when things were a bit colder. And that, of course, would cause a lot of corrosion. I remember my father's, or my family's business, which was called Norman Anchors in York, down Gilligate. It's a business that I grew up with as a kid. Started by my great-grandfather, Mr. Norman Anchors, in 1907, I believe it was, with his brother. And in 1972, Dad, prior to that, they were British Leyland agents, franchise, and then they switched franchise and they secured Datsun. Because, Datsun at the time, and Nissan in Japan, were looking to extend, the sales within new countries, and they were looking for franchisees in the UK. And Dad put his hand up and thought it'd be a great idea. Well, the first couple of years went really well. The cars weren't over expensive, and they were quite different to English cars. But they very quickly started to rust, and Datsun's got quite a reputation of being known for poor quality steel or poorly protected steel. In Japan wasn't a problem, but in the UK, the same car would quickly rust. But they did, within a couple of years, start to put procedures in place where the cars would, once they came to the UK, they would get undersealed here. And we actually had an undersealing bay at the garage, which you'd never see nowadays. Whenever a car, when a car was sold, it would go through PDI and it would get undersealed before it went to the customer. And that wasn't just underneath the car; that was in the drill holes in the sills and fill the sills and so on with the underseal as well. So they did a pretty good job, to be honest, and that very quickly quashed the problem. But the reputation was still there for quite a few years. People just knew Datsuns or any Japanese cars really as rust buckets. But that isn't the case anymore, obviously. And I'm sure the same was for Alfa Romeo. I doubt that they salt the roads over there, but they do in the UK, and that was the main problem. The new ones, they should have a lot better rust proofing now, but I am surprised that you got a small hole in your floor, but the repair is very easy. And I don't know why a mechanic wouldn't do it. Mm. Denby R. Good morning, Denby. It's difficult not to laugh at someone that says, I will pay DHL something from Europe, and you have to explain to them that there isn't space to DHL due to lack of passenger flights. Ostriches. Yeah, people just, if there's no planes in the sky, you can't move stuff around by plane, can you? It's pretty simple. And if and what you do, the only space, because it's so limited, it's bloody expensive. Rose Iron Works, the reason they are being held at the ports is because of the extra paperwork and screening the containers. Right, thank you very much for that. That makes more sense. Richard Asperger. Hi, Andy. My wife said the other day that if I was bored during lockdown, I could maybe have a go at making a bird table. She's currently in 5th place and not too happy about it. Oh, mate, what do you like? That's classic. Rose Iron Works. Also, they have been very careful with the implementation of the extra ISPS regulations, International Port and Ship Security, and controlling the possible extra risk of opening a lot of big boxes. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I can imagine there's a lot of new procedures going on, and they will take more time. So the information you've given is actually really helpful, because the more that I know, the more I can justify to the people that I have to deal with why there are such long delays. And it's not down to one particular reason. There's a number of reasons. It's a compound effect. I mean, we've got to the point now, and this is across a range of brands. As you know, Claudia works for Ford. Sorry, Girl Holley works for Ford. And some parts now are on what's called factory back order, which means, the dealers haven't got any on the shelf. The importers don't have any on the shelf. The factory hasn't got any. And they're actually waiting to make some more. So, of course, there's not going to be any kind of an ETA date on that kind of stuff that's of any real accuracy, at least, if they do give one. But sometimes, the factories are actually either shut down completely or they are on limited production runs. So the delays have now gone all the way to the top. It's not just a delay in getting the part from one part of the world to the next. It's a fact that, well, there actually isn't any. They've got to make some more, and we don't know when that's going to happen. And that's quite amazing, isn't it, really? I don't think we've ever been in that kind of situation before. Oh, my word. Need some coffee. Right. Daz, 323323. What's your go-to pie, Andy? Remember to stop by the Fairley Bakehouse when you're down south. I will. Hang on. I need to put that on my little phone and I'll remember that. It might even be a live stream. Who knows? We'll see. I will do. Thank you very much. But my go-to pie, partly for convenience, but also I do like it, is the Wild Bean Cafe, which is the coffee shop part of the BP petrol stations in New Zealand. Most of them anyway, the big ones. And they have a range of pies, really good. They're not a sponsor to the channel, although I'd be really good if they were, but it'd be really bad actually if they were, because I'd eat a lot more pies, and I eat way too many anyway. Is the gourmet, not the standard, has to be the gourmet steak and cheese. That is my go-to. Now, obviously you've got to have a backup pie. So if you get in there and you find that all the gourmet steak and cheese pies have gone, yes, it's a huge disappointment. But if you've already got your backup pie organised, then it's not too much of a letdown. So then I go for the pepper steak. Again, of course, gourmet pepper steak pie from the Wild Bean Cafe. It's actually really nice, and it's a good thing that it hasn't got cheese in it, because I do eat too much cheese. So, you know, it's like a, yeah, okay, I can cook one of those. It's a little bit hot on the tongue, but we're all good. And down it with a nice coffee, and off you go again. And I do spend a lot of time, and I have recently I've been out delivering ROVs, ones that I've been fixing that are all done. Got one more to do, which is going to get done just before Christmas, but it's done now, though there's no more here. Cleared the decks, and I've been delivering new ones, and I've got an ex-Surf Club Viking to pick up from from the Arewa Surf Club, and take down on my way home on it'll be the 23rd, I think, of December. Coming south, I've got that one to bring down, because it's sold to a dealer down here. He's just bought it, and I've got the last one from Bethel's Beach to pick up and service. That'll be the second one on the trailer, and hopefully get that one serviced and back to them before New Year. So I'll have to have a drive up to Auckland between Christmas and New Year, which is it's not ideal, but it's just gonna have to happen, isn't it? Can't let them down. Really can't. Pie is gone. So you won't need to watch me eat anymore. Thanks for hanging in there. So, for those that weren't here right at the start, and that's not your fault, it's just the way it is, Girl Holley is going to be joining us this morning on the live stream. I said to her, please don't miss it, because there's lots of people that have questions for you, and they'd love to see you on the channel live, because it's quite different to a video, isn't it? So she should be here, I reckon, the next quarter of an hour or so, I would say. Something like that. She's pretty good. But it is raining a little bit, but it's not raining too bad. I'm sure she'll be fine to get here. She's only got about 100 meters to walk to get here. Maybe not even that. Now then, lots and lots of got cheese in my beard. It's not good. Now then, Simon Roll, Mark R. Any Italian motor, just add water and it will fail. Oh, Simon, that's a bit harsh, mate. Come on, you're probably about right, but yeah. John Dwyer. Hi Andy, hope you and Mrs. Mechanic are well. Mrs. Mechanic is really happy at the moment because Mr. Mechanic, Andy Mechanic, went out this week when I was up in Auckland. I had it planned. Again, I'd ordered it in advance. Wasn't in a rush to pick it up because it was going to cost me money, and I don't like spending money. I bought her a new lawnmower because it is a new lawnmower. So strictly speaking, I bought her a new lawnmower. It does imply that we used to have a lawnmower. But the only lawnmower that we have is Ben's, and it's a ride-on, and it's a death trap. He converted the belt drive system to chain drive, which is, it doesn't break any more belts, but man, those chains, when he's on full noise, they are flying. I did a few calculations before he did it, and it actually, when it's on full RPM, it's running the chain is running about 3 times the speed of the maximum speed it's supposed to be going at, according to DID. So it could let go at any point, and the noise, it's so noisy. But it has been mothballed for a while. It's not very happy. So the grass has just been growing. I've been promising Mrs. Mechanic a new lawnmower for a while, so I went out and bought her a Husqvarna lawnmower. I think I showed you the pictures last live stream, so it's here now, and it works. But she's not allowed to cut the grass yet because I'm doing videos. She can do as many passes of the grass as she wants tomorrow. I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be going away for 3 weeks. Right, where are we? Harry Darg. Hopefully I've pronounced your surname correctly there, Harry. Damn, I almost missed you. Hey, we don't want that. We've got 70 people on board. This is great. I'll try and make it interesting for you all. John, I've done that one. Rose Ironworks. Also likely they'll be tough biosecurity laws. We are being really, really tough. Not tough enough, i.e. you're not coming in, but they are being really, really, really strict. Denby, same issue with the Datsun B 110 AKA. Mum used to have a 1200. Was it a 1200Y? I think she had. That were assembled at Campbell's in Thames, New Zealand, now Toyota. So probably the grade of steel. Maybe. Is that right though? Oh yeah. So yeah, yes, there were ones assembled here, but I mean the steel would have come from Japan, wouldn't it? Because they were only assembled, I believe. Same as a lot of the Nissan Patrols we have here, or Nissan Safaris, they were the same. They were assembled here, weren't they? I think. Oh, listen to that rain. It's not too bad. Can you hear it on the live stream? Can you hear the rain? Menox. Mark R, when you remove rust, you always find treats. But it's just fine. But it's just the floor. It should not be too bad. Yeah. I've welded up plenty of floors before. I even welded the floor up in the Unimog. That was fun. Harry Darg, we want repairs. Sorry, we want more repairs. Anything will do. Love your channel. Well, at the moment, obviously, I'm focused on trying to clear out the projects. Good segue, actually. I can use that. We are currently on. Just a little pan round. We're on with. Sneak preview. Tool Girl Holley's DR200 has got the new frame installed, and we're busy building the bike up. We've run into a few issues, actually. And because you guys do the live streams and join me for these Sunday mornings, I think it's only fair that you get to find out a little bit of things, a few things in advance. The bushes that we fitted to the swing arm have an equal amount of play, and they're brand new, don't forget, as the bushes that we took out. Not impressed, and way too much play to pass a warrant of fitness. So I am not impressed at all, not one little bit, by the All Balls kit that we purchased, or I purchased, to do this job. It's only it's not they're not needle roller bearings, it's just like a nylon bush that's used. But the play isn't in the bush. The play is in the steel sleeve, the inside diameter of the steel sleeve, and the actual bolt, or axle, what do you call it, you like, the pivot bolt that goes through the swing arm, through the frame, and through the back of the engine. That's where the play is. It's almost like they haven't machined it to the right size. So it looks to me like I'm going to have to come up with a plan. And there's no wear on the actual bolt itself. It just seems like they've just machined the inside diameter a little bit too large, and it doesn't take very much play to cause quite a lot of movement, at the back of the swing arm. But I'm going to have to come up with a cunning plan to fix that. I might decide to take the whole bush out that we bought and just make up some bronze bushes that are, on the lathe that are the right size, and pop those in and make them a nice tight fit. That would fix it, and it probably lasts a lot longer as well. So that's probably what's going to happen, but I'm going to have to buy some more bronze rod, because I haven't got any. I've run out. So yes, again, another little job, but I'm going to get that bike finished over Christmas. Got loads of days leave, so I'm very, very happy. It should be good fun. I'm going to enjoy doing that. Now then, so thanks, Harry, appreciate that. Simon, hit the like, crew. Yes, if you've not pressed the like button yet, and you are actually enjoying this video, and Tall Girl Holley's not too far away, I would say. She'll be here, so this is a good time to start thinking about questions you're going to ask her. Because she's going to be on the channel for about half an hour, which may be 45 minutes if she's got the time. Because we really need to get on with the filming. We've got a lot still to get done today. Because we only get a chance to film in the workshop with Holly probably four weekends a year. So about once every 3 months maybe. We might squeeze 5 weekends in. on the odd year, I don't know, but we really have to hammer out the videos. And with the delays yesterday on doing the suspension bushes, it's sort of thrown us a bit behind schedule. I was hoping by this point, or by the end of last night's filming, when we did finish till about 6:45, I was hoping to have all the suspension bushes done, and that wasn't the case. We've still got, I would say, about another hour of filming to do on that video. Plus we've got, other stuff to do. I want to get all the wire. I really want to get the bike started today, but I don't think that's going to happen. Connor K, Rose Ironworks, thanks for the information. I have been off the ships and on the beach for some time now. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, those of us that, Connor obviously has been on ships for a long time, but, the things that are going on at the moment with the restrictions, I'm not going to say too much because YouTube really doesn't like you talking about this kind of thing, but we're not talking specifically about the root cause of the problem. We're talking about the effects of it on the world, and I think that's fine. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on that if you're not in the know, you just don't know. And it's great to get this information because it really helps me to understand and get the bigger picture. So I can then, explain to people, try and educate them as to why there are such delays. Because they really have no idea. Some of them are just completely oblivious to it. Whether it's because they don't watch the news or what, I just don't know. But anyway. So, Rose Ironworks, send an email to your port control. They might be able to shed a little more light on the reasons. I'll do that. I'll do that while I'm away. I'll go on their website, the Ports of Auckland it will be, and I'll ask them, what's going on, lads? We'd like to know. Kian, I think that's right, Kian Griffiths, any tips for painting a swing arm? Well, the swing arm, if it's a more modern bike, is most likely to be aluminium. So you're going to need to give it a really good clean, and you're going to need etching primer. If you don't use etching primer, the paint's going to flake off. So yes, go and see your paint specialist who's going to mix your paint up. He'll even put it in aerosols for you if you want, if you haven't got a spray gun. But you will need some etching primer, most definitely. And don't be shy on the number of coats you put on it, because it does a lot of work, and there's a chain there, and a lot of stones fly up and stuff. So you want to do a good few layers of paint. Blackfoot. When you can no longer get pieces, make a good agreement with the Chinese. They can. And the quality is even better than the original. The quality of Chinese products, and I can speak first-hand on this, is entirely dependent on the budget per piece. If you ask them to make something for $1, they'll make it for $1, but it won't be very good, potentially. If you give them $5 to make it, it'll be a lot better. They can vary their quality depending on how much you pay them. And you've got to watch out. They're actually very good at moving the goalposts once the contract's signed. And secondly to that, they will, if it's if it's a motorcycle, for example, that they're making for you, they're actually really good at copying that motorcycle because they've got the blueprints, don't forget, rebadging it and selling it for half the price in other areas of the world. So you really got to watch your back sometimes. But you're right. A very useful resource for manufacturing is China, but you've just got to be very wary about quality control. And, don't go for the cheapest option that they give you. Harry Darg, what do you think of the Dodge A100 pickups? Well, Harry, I can't really comment, to be honest, because I've never worked on one, and we probably don't have very many of them over here. Dodge in general, I think they're a pretty cool truck, to be honest. They've been around for a long time. We do get the newer ones. I don't know the year of an A100, to be honest. I don't even know the model. But there are obviously Dodges here now in New Zealand, and the feedback that I've been getting from customers, people that drive them around, don't seem to be saying that they're any real problem. They've got a lot of grunt compared to the Japanese pickups, that's for sure. Cowboy USA. She ain't heavy, she's my sister. The Hollies. Good man, the Hollies. Mike Bozansky. Picked up my first impact driver last week. Any words of wisdom? Well, Mike, What brand did he get? That would be nice to know. I'm very much a Makita guy, and I've been buying Makitas for many years, and I've just, once I got into buying the rechargeable ones, you tend to stick with the same brand because then you can swap all the batteries around. It makes the whole tool range a lot more flexible, because I do chew through the batteries when I'm busy, angle grinding and stuff. But yeah, I suppose words of wisdom. I mean, the little 3/8 one we've got is fantastic. It'll last all day on one battery. It's bloody good, and it does most jobs. It's got enough grunt to get most bolts, most up to sort of M10s undone fine. I mean, a lot of these beams were put in using that, and then given a final tweak. But it's also really controllable on the trigger, so you can actually turn the anvil very slowly just to wind a bolt in without any real torque. So I do like it. Very controllable, and it's been super reliable. Rose Ironworks, Mike Boganski. Yes, we don't use them as a hammer. Perfect. There you go. Yes, don't. I mean, most tools have as Eric O will say, most tools have a hammer surface. Jokingly, before the comments come in, but I would recommend not using your impact driver as a hammer. I think I've used mine once as a hammer to tap something in, and I really felt very bad after that. Cowboy USA, Mike Boganski. Buy impact sockets. Yes, you'll also want impact sockets, but sometimes impact sockets, because they're usually a thicker wall, you can't quite get in very well. They're a bit more numb to use. So when I'm not filming, in fact when we are filming, because Holly did it yesterday, we tend to use normal sockets. And I think as long as you're not giving it a lot of grief, and you do torque it up afterwards with a power bar or a sort of torque wrench, then it's not really a problem. Sockets nowadays, I haven't seen a modern day socket split open, but it does cause a lot more wear on the flanks, so you're going to have to replace them more often, that's for sure. My little 10mm 10 Tools one has done incredibly well. I've had it about 5 years now, and it really is showing signs of being worn out, to be honest. I really should replace that. I have got a new one, but I just don't want to use it yet. See how long the old one will last. Denbiar, I got a lawnmower for my wife. I considered a good I considered a good trade. What do you like, mate? See, I couldn't do that because I suffer terribly from hay fever, and of course I have asthma, and smoking's not good for that. So when I go and cut the grass, when I used to cut the grass, or even at certain times of the year, eyes are streaming, I'm coughing and wheezing. It's not good. The worst thing for me is wheat chaff. You know when the combine harvesters are out and you get that chaff in the air? Kills me. Just knocks me flat. Can't do anything. So I couldn't do that because Mrs. Mechanic is the one that drives the lawnmower, not me. So that wasn't an option. But good on you, mate. Excellent. Cowboy USA. Denbiar. I'll give you a nice riding lawnmower to take my wife. Oh man, that's a bit like... Oh dear. Where's this conversation going to go? Rose Ironworks. Andy, you're in New Zealand. Get some sheep. There's plenty of sheep around, that's for sure. John Nuttall. Denby Dale, West Yorkshire, makers of the world's largest pie. Your old stomping ground. Absolutely, I've been to Denby Dale plenty of times. Xmas is on the way, Holly, in the workshop. Hurry. It is. She's on her way. I'm not right. In fact, should we send her a message? We'll send her a message. How's that? We'll see if she's out of bed yet. Because she should be here very shortly. I'm not stalling you. I've set a time for her to be here. Don't want to give the time away because I want, I'm building up that suspense for you. I think Are You Up will be good, won't it? Are You Up? There you go. We'll see if that pings through shortly. Now then. Harry Darg, take some weld and build it up. Smooth it down to where you want it. Yeah, I mean, obviously I can't build up the pivot bolt because then it won't fit through the holes in the frame or through the bush at the back of the engine. It's quite a complicated arrangement. And building up, okay, I could maybe build up the inside of the the bush and machine it out, but I can't get weld all the way down. It's probably about 40 mil long. So I've been able to weld right down there. 20 mil in on the tube is going to be quite difficult. In all honesty, I would much rather just make up some bronze bushes for it and have done with it, really. I think that's probably the simplest solution. I wasn't really a fan of those nylon bushes that went in anyway, to be honest. I was expecting them to be needle rollers. Now then. John Melville. Andy, you're a great guy and a really good mechanic. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. There's a lot of stuff that I don't know, though. We're always learning. But you're not looking healthy. Diet, smoking. I have a great diet. I do. A diet is just what you eat, isn't it? People assume a diet has to be good food. A diet could be bad food as well. You're right. In my defence, I only started smoking when I was 37. So it wasn't like I was a kid when I started smoking, and I only really smoked probably on average about 3 or 4 cigarettes a day. And there are some days that I don't smoke any. And I do understand and appreciate and accept that I really do need to stop smoking at some point. Partly because it's so bloody expensive in New Zealand. I mean, I could have bought a lot more tools and stuff for the workshop if I hadn't been smoking the last 10 years. Yeah. And I have cut back on the alcohol. I only have ciders maybe a couple of nights a week. So I do try, but I don't exercise very much. A lot of my job is spent driving or sitting, and the exercise is a bad thing. I used to do, when I was at Unitec, I was entering marathons. I was doing the 12k traverse over the harbour bridge every year. I would run probably a 6k, a 5 or a 6k run twice a week when I was up at Puhoi. And then on a Sunday morning, I would run from Aharoa, where I used to live, to Puhoi over the hill. It was a gravel road, most of it. Quite a steep hill. 12k's, which was the prep for the traverse. And my best time for that was 1 hour and 17 minutes, which I was absolutely amazed about. I did extremely well. I was buggered by the rest of the day, but I really pushed myself hard on that, and it definitely showed. It made a big difference to my physique over those sort of 3 years that I was running. But as soon as I started working for my current employer, some of you know who that is, there's no time. It's not an excuse. There just isn't any time. I just don't have the energy all the time. Probably the inclination, to be honest, to do that. I'm just too busy in the workshop, too much to do, videos to edit, all that kind of stuff going on. So it definitely is having a detrimental effect on me as a person, that's for sure. Maybe I should start again. But I remember stopping because I got a bad knee from running, and my right hip as well started to play up. So I don't want that to come back. Oh, there's something going on. She's seen the message. If I turn that off, it'll go ping. Right. But thanks for the tip, and I appreciate you looking out for me. I really do. Ping! There we go. Hoo-hoo-hoo. Yep. What does she say? She says, from Girl Holley, update. Yep, just about to head down. She's on her way. And she's not far. It's about 100 metres away is the hotel she's been staying at, so shouldn't be long at all. Rock and Blues. Hi Andy, been watching the channel for a while. Keep up the good work. I will. I'll do my very best. Simon Roll. Good thing with phosphor bronze is self-lubricating. It's likely to live out the bike. Correct. A lot better than what it's got at the moment, even though it's brand new. I'm just not impressed at all, and it wasn't a cheap kit. So all balls, if you're listening, I'm not happy. Been a great supporter of your kits. I mean, they're not the highest quality, but they're readily available and they're not over expensive. But that's just not suitable. I mean, it's the same kit that goes on the DR200 trail bike that is registered for the road here in New Zealand, and there's too much play. It would fail a warrant the day you fit it, which is what this bike's going to have to go through. It needs to have a warrant of fitness done on it, and the guy will fail it on those bushes as they are, despite them being brand new. And it's not right. There shouldn't be that amount of play there. David Eagleton. Did you sell your wall to Trump? Well, I should have done, shouldn't I? No, I didn't. It went down to the tip. I loaded it in the trailer and it just took all the rubble down there. It's gone. It's out of the way. It's bloody heavy. You know that. V4 Bergman. Looking forward to the summer uniform. I guess you get summer when we here in Sweden get winter. Yes, it's really starting to get summery now. Filming yesterday about 2 to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. It was pretty hot in this workshop. Poor Holly was starting to flag a little bit. We had to get her a pint of ice cold water to try and cool her down a bit. Daz323323, I found your channel by the Makita impact driver. I ended up purchasing one because of your review. It's a great tool. It is a fantastic tool. And just incidentally, that video has been demonetized by YouTube. I have no idea why, but I don't know. Such is life. It's done well. It's a good video. Yes, the first one didn't come up with a conclusive conclusion, but the part 2 one that I did with Tool Girl Sam did. I think from the equipment we had available, and that's the poignant part of this statement. With the kit that we had available in the workshop, we were able to reasonably measure the output of torque from that device, and it, surpassed what it was advertised as. It did extremely well, and it's been brilliant ever since. I think the only bolt that it's ever failed to undo or remove is the swing arm pivot bolt on the DR200s, and it's because they're seized solid with corrosion, so you can't really blame them for that. They're not really undoing a nut. It wasn't the nut that was the problem. The bolt itself was seized in place, and believe me, I did try. It took a huge power bar to finally get it to start turning. Blackfoot, do not go below 2 amp hour with the batteries. I think I've got 3 amp hour and 5. Those little slim ones, they did the crap, to be honest. And I think the more powerful a tool, the more current that the tool uses, for example, the grinders that we have, and especially that big impact wrench, I think it's only sensible to use at least a 5 amp hour battery on those, to be fair, if you're working them hard. John Dwyer, I heard Guy was on last week. Yes, I believe he was. He wasn't impressed with some of the negative comments coming from some people in the comments. I wasn't impressed either, to be honest, John. What can I say? I can't control the comments. I tried to maintain utter belief that it was Guy Martin, and I still believe that it was. But, the public is the public, unfortunately. Mike Bazanski, till they shut down our gym for the pandemic, I would search your videos for ones that are about 35 minutes, which was the time I spent on the elliptical. Keep my mind off the exercise. Yeah, it's a good way, isn't it? When you're churning away in the gym, things seem to drag on if you haven't got a bit of music playing or watching a video or something. I would do the same thing. I put my phone. I used to do a bit of weights and then go on the bike and pedal away like mad on the bike for a while. Sometimes I used to go to the gym for like 2 hours and just smash it out. It was incredible. One of the times I went, I made a record of the weights that I was lifting in the various machines and the number of reps that I'd done. And it turned out to be about the equivalent energy that I'd put out over that sort of 2 hour period to lift an Arctic truck about 1 foot off the ground. I was quite impressed by that, to be honest. I was completely buggered by the end of it though. William Wallace, Freedom, best method to rust-proof classic mini rear subframe. Well, I do like my 3M under seal. I really do. I've seen it used now for a number of years. Obviously, I do the application. A number of years on ROVs that operate on a beach. Now, these vehicles have to launch the inflatable boats that they have, so they actually reverse them into the sea. And there's been many a time where there's been waves crashing over the side of the ROV, so it absolutely gets completely covered in salt water on a regular basis. And they've stood up to the time extremely well. Sure, there's a little bit of rust here and there, but nothing like there was previously. Ben's Ute was sprayed in the same stuff a few years ago, and it still looks really, really good underneath. I did the Hilux Ute for Bethel's Beach Surf Club a couple of years ago, and I was down there dropping an ROV off last week, and I took a quick look at it to have a look underneath and stuff, and again it's doing really, really well, and they do take that ute on the beach. So yeah, that 3M underseal, bloody good. Dave Giles, my 49cc trike is leaking gas out of the back of the filter. Okay, well that's obviously coming from the carburetor. So you need to have a little look at the carb. There is a video on the channel going through the things to check on a carburetor, and specifically inspecting and replacing that little tiny O-ring that usually sits between the oh, hang on, we've got somebody. Hang on, it might be Holly. Should be getting wet. Come in, come in, come in. I'll be down, didn't it? Sorry. Right, I'll let you get ready while I'll just finish off what I'm doing, alright? Yeah. Tool Girl Holly is in the workshop. Good job, Holly, you made it out of bed. That's fantastic. Now, what was, yes, so on the carburetor, there's a little, usually on some carburetors, most carburetors, there's a little tiny O-ring that sits between the valve seat, the float valve seat, and the carburetor body. And they do perish over time, and then you get fuel bypass, and that can cause them to overflow. So do check that out. If you find the video, watch the video, it's actually really good for that. It's just started to rain even heavier now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
And you just sort of got here in time. Good job. Now then, did you ever look at the 10 Tools history page? Jim, I didn't. I've not had time yet. Sorry. John Nuttall, hit the like now. Yes, hit the like. Oh, we've got 85 viewers. We're doing well. Jim K, hello, Holly. Jim's on board. Oh my word. There's all sorts going on this morning. Oh God. Okay, sorry, can't disclose that bit. Carlos, hello, Holly. Kill switch, woohoo! Holly, oh, you got some kisses from Kill Switch. Oh my word. I'm not sure if we can allow that. Wow, YouTube might get upset. Lepsudo Alcon, morning, Holly. You see, we're getting people commenting now that have never commented before just because you're here. Crazy, isn't it? Springy 2112. Oops, missed the start. You did. We're already an hour in. But good info on the 5 amp hour batteries. My 2 amp hour batteries are useless on the 1/2 inch drive. Peace and love from the UK. Yeah, they can't really deliver enough current, and they get real hot real quick, which doesn't do them any good. Right, so let's get reset up. Move things around a bit for Holly, get us sorted out. There you go. How's that? Is that going to work?
It's a bit colder this morning, so I haven't put my toggle gear on yet.
Oh my word, that's okay. We can forgive you for that. How's that? How's the audio? Can you still hear us okay?
Hi guys.
You'll have to shout up, that's what it is. I've only got drunk half my coffee. I had my pie though. Pie was good, actually. Pie was, what was it, 8 out of 10 I gave the pie, didn't I? Okay, crew, so I've been rambling on for a while. We've got a couple of parcels to open up later on. But before we do that, now is your time to ask Tool Girl Holly anything you like, provided it does meet YouTube criteria. So don't go saying stuff that you probably regret later on. Ken Pickerel, hey Holly!
Hello.
She's still waking up, guys, come on.
Yeah.
Pete Curran, greetings crew. Good morning, Pete.
Holly coffee. I don't drink hot drinks, unfortunately. That's why.
You do drink though, don't you? She drinks lots, just not coffee. There you go. How's that? Is that going to work? You can see better there, can't you? Coolio. So, I'll let you answer some questions. There you go. Look, shall I read them out, or do you just want to read them off the screen? I'll read them out because otherwise it won't make sense, will it?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Mike Bazanski saw old videos. One with blue hair. Mm-hmm. That was a while ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
Another as a blonde. What's the story on evolution of your hair colours? Good question.
There's no real big story to it. It's just that the blue hair, I'd wanted to do blue for a little while. I think it was a cool colour. The maintenance on it was very hard though. So I tried to stick to it for as long as I could, and then it just got too difficult. My hair was too long, unmanageable.
It was long, wasn't it?
The blonde haircut was a part of like I let my hairdresser basically have fun with my hair. She took some photos. It was pretty cool. Sort of part of a colour competition, I think it was, which was it's really cool.
So
that I got to do that.
So she recommended to go blonde. Was it her idea or your idea?
She just had fun with my hair.
Oh,
I
cool.
think it ended up pretty cool.
Yep.
That was after some of the colours had washed out a little bit that I ended up coming back to the channel with the blonde hair.
Yep.
So next question.
Very different look though, isn't it? When you change your hair colour, it actually makes you look quite different.
It does. It's very drastic.
Quite amazing, really. So who have we got next? We've got Connor K. Audio and video is good. No worries. Morning Holly. Thanks, Connor. I appreciate the feedback because the camera's a lot further back now. We don't really know how things are going to come across very well.
Over.
David Eagleton. Do you have the heater out for Holly?
Not this morning that I can see.
Man, yesterday there was absolutely no need for a heater. Believe me, it's not that cold, is it? At the moment, even in the mornings, it's not too bad.
Oh, I think it'll warm up soon.
It will, yeah, I'm sure it will. I don't think it'll be quite as hot as it was yesterday, though.
No.
If it keeps raining like this,
Yeah.
should make filming a bit easier as regards temperature, but it's going to kill the audio probably. Now then, Killswitch BB. How many tattoos? Oh, she'll like this one. How many tattoos does Holly have? And what's the plan for the next one, if there is one? Very good question.
Technically, I currently have 3. I have a small one behind the back of my left ankle. I have the one you guys have probably already seen on my leg, and I've just recently had something added to that. So technically, it's still one tattoo.
But it's getting a lot bigger, isn't it?
It is getting a lot bigger. That one is still unfinished, so I get that one finished about the 10th of January. I'm so excited for that. It's going to be fantastic once it's done. I'm already super happy with it.
And we're definitely going to be wearing the shorts after that, aren't we?
Yeah.
She'll want to be showing that one off for sure.
And then I've got the one on my arm, which you guys will have seen.
Absolutely. And the one on your arm, that's Phoenix, isn't it?
Yes, a phoenix under a moon.
Very, very smart. Very jealous, actually. I've got one here on this arm, which you guys probably have never seen, but it goes down to my... It's quite big. Maybe one day. On a really hot day, maybe. Now then. Blackfoot, don't smoke bluegrass. Okay, thank you for that. Cheryl Ferguson. Good morning from Kentucky. Enjoying the channel. Well, thank you, Cheryl. Good to have you on board. I think that's the first time that I've seen one of your comments, so great to have you in the comment stream as well. Jim Haynes. Most of the Ford parts we get nowadays are made in Mexico and China, with some from Canada and USA. How about in New Zealand? So you've got a bit of experience on Ford parts. Where do they come from?
Lots of them come from Europe. So places like Turkey, Germany, UK, just somewhere in UK that's generalised country of origin.
Just all over the place, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's amazing how vehicle manufacturers now source parts from all over the world, and how dependent they are on those parts getting to them to manufacture the vehicles.
Yeah.
And that's probably another reason why there's shortages now.
Thailand is another big one that they come from.
Yep. Have you noticed that have Ford started to produce parts out of China yet? If it was a Chinese...
Not that I've noticed.
You've not seen that yet? They've held
No.
off from that. That's probably a good sign, to be fair.
Yeah.
Let's hope that continues, because I don't have a lot of luck with Chinese parts, to be honest. Now then, Connor K. Heard that you like to work on American muscle cars, Holly. What models and years do you like and work on the most? Do you own any?
Unfortunately, I don't own any, but I got to work on such a variety of cars, but we did specialise in the classic Mustangs when I was working on them. That was my boss at the time. He was just savvy with them. He knew them like the back of his hand.
He did. I remember doing we were going to do a TV show. It was like a prequel to it all, where they were doing a bit of research. And I went up and spent a day, an afternoon with Kevin, isn't it?
Yeah.
With Kevin. And they wanted us to do something, and Kevin had an axle, a rear axle out of the muscle car. and he converted it to disc brakes. And they'd also narrowed the axle up a little bit so they could fit wider wheels and wider tyres and stuff, beef the whole look up. And it was really good. And I was asking him some pretty poignant questions about the axle and how they'd shortened it, the tubes and so on. And tip of his tongue, straight away, he had some really good technical answers. So he's a very, very knowledgeable chap.
He knows his stuff.
He does know his stuff. I have a lot of respect for that guy, and I think he's taught you really, really well.
Absolutely.
He was a very, very good mentor for Holly. He really was, and hopefully I'll meet up with him again sometime. Now then, so what's your favourite muscle car? Just to finish that question off.
It's really hard to pick. I do particularly like the Mustangs. I also like the classic Camaros as well, the competitive.
Good job. And look, wasn't there a time that you took a muscle car out on the road? And
Yeah, I did get to test drive a couple of the notchbacks. Yeah.
And wasn't there an incident that occurred when you were driving one of those muscle cars?
Oh, not when I was driving.
Oh, okay.
Not the muscle cars.
Oh, okay. So what car was it that maybe slid just a little bit?
Slid. That would have been my car. my little Mazda 323.
That was massive understeer, wasn't it? I remember that. That was fun. Now then, okay. Simon, now keep your shirt on, Andy. It's cheers, mate. It's a tool girl's job. All right, mate. Understood. Springy 2112. Holly, you bring sunshine to the channel. My daughter Holly, wow, brings sunshine too. She's 27 and just moved out again. She keeps coming back. It's like, go away, go do life. Nah, there's always a door open for your kids, that's for sure. You've got to do that. John Nuttall, Holly, when did you first ride a motorcycle? Good question.
I was 12. My dad let me ride his GN125. I've been pestering him. He was finally like, yeah, okay, I'll take you out today. I'll teach you how to ride. Definitely was an interesting experience. It took me a while to get the hang of it. Did some bunny hops. An adjustment when you've never gotten a bike before.
Didn't quite have the clutch control at the start then.
No.
But a good little bike to learn on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really good little bike. So it's quite low centre of gravity,
yeah.
Quite controllable. And to be fair, if you do crash it, they're not that expensive to fix either, are they?
No.
You just sort of straighten things up and off you go again.
Yeah.
Very good. Jonathan Uman, best regards from Costa Rica. Well, thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate that. If you've got any better weather than we have, send it across because it's starting to rain quite hard now. Choppers Rule 1, good day, mate. How's it going? It's going really well, actually. So we've got Tool Girl Holly here in the workshop. We were filming all day yesterday. We worked some pretty long hours yesterday, didn't we?
Oh, this whole week has been long hours. I calculated up how many hours I've done this morning, including my working week, working on my car after work, and by the end of today I would have cracked nearly 70 hours.
That's ridiculous.
I've never worked a week that long.
Moly, I think you're putting me to shame at that. That is mental. And your car. So what have you done to your car? Good segue. Too late. It's already gone out to the world.
I had a leaking steering rack, which failed a waff, so I decided to try and do a recon on my steering rack. And
didn't quite go to plan.
No, it didn't.
Didn't quite go to plan. But there was some good news because you even though you've been told by a lot of people that finding a second-hand rack was going to be nigh on impossible.
Parts for my car are very hard to find because people love to use them for drift cars, so they just get snapped up in an instant.
And what car is it again?
It's a Nissan Silvia S14.
It's a cool car. Needs a paint job at some point. So if anybody out there wants to paint Tool Girl Holly's car, we need a nice cheap quote, but a good job. Yeah, we'll try and put that out there. She really wants it painting. Now then, what have we got here? Truck this garage. Where are you located? Well, we're in New Zealand and we're not too far outside Taupo, which is the North Island, central North Island. And obviously Holly lives up in Auckland, which is a fair trek. It's a testament to Holly to come all the way down here to spend a weekend building a motorbike. And you're having good fun doing that, are you?
Oh, absolutely.
It's quite a good skill to build a bike from scratch. It really is. Now then, Friendo. Got your sticker, Andy. TYVM, what's that stand for?
Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. No, I'm too old. Thank you very much. No problem at all, mate. I'll send a pic of it soon on my truck. Yes, well, that would be great. I'm looking forward to it, using those photos somehow, either on the channel or on social media and stuff. Now then.
My dream bike to own.
Yeah.
I've recently taken particular interest in a bike that I found. It's called the Kawasaki Vulcan S, which I think would be a really cool bike to move up to next, but the weight difference between what I'm riding now is a bit of an adjustment, so I definitely need to take it for a test ride first.
Yeah, Simon Rawle is an avid biker. He does a lot of work on motorcycles. So Simon, if you've got any comments on that particular model, so it's a Kawasaki Vulcan S.
Yep, LAMS approved, 650.
Yep, so it's a LAMS approved over here in New Zealand. Learner riders, believe it or not, can ride up to 650 cc's of pure power on their motorcycle. And that bike complies to those LAMS regulations. So, if you've got any information, or if you've got anyone that's got one of those bikes in the UK or anywhere else in the world, give us some feedback, because Holly's really keen on getting one of those and would really value some genuine feedback on how that bike is.
Absolutely.
Mike Bazanski, Holly, oh, he's done that. Yeah, Holly, what is your go-to favourite pie? These are really poignant questions, because I bought Holly a pie yesterday, did really well.
Yeah.
So tell them what it is you had and if you liked it or not.
It was a Mackenzie mince and cheese pie. I love my mince and cheese pies, and it was fantastic. Andy seems to like the pies with the more firm, crunchy crusts, and I like the soft ones.
You like the soggy pies,
Yeah.
don't you? Honestly, I can't cope with soggy pies. I can't. The one I had this morning, which was, there's bits of pie all over it now, but it was what was it? A Mrs. I don't know what it was. Mrs. Max I had today, a giant steak and cheese pie, and it was actually not bad. I gave it 8 out of 10. Obviously, the 10 out of 10 is the steak and cheese from the big blue petrol stations. I do like that. I have to cut back though. That and smoking, it's just not good for me. Chopper's Rule. I have a night test of the sleigh rod last night. It needs more lights, lol. What? Sleigh rod. Is that a bike or is that a link to being Father Christmas? I'm not too sure on that one. Chopper's Rule. Video up now. Good to know, mate. Kill Switch BB. Test ride every bike you can and have fun. I do keep telling you that, don't I? So you're gonna have to get on the bike and see how it actually feels. And I tell customers whenever they're looking at buying a bike, I always insist that we go for a test ride, because the last thing you ever want is to commit yourself to buying a bike, and then it might look fantastic and you might really like the bike, the way it's designed and everything, but it doesn't handle the way you want it to handle. You're stuck with it, aren't you? Really?
Same as buying a car.
Yeah.
You test drive the car before you buy it.
Exactly that. It's not just about the way it looks; it's about the way it drives and handles, and how you mould to the vehicle, especially with the motorcycle. Does it fit your body shape?
Yeah.
The ergonomics of the bike. Does it suit your body? Because we're all different. I mean, a little bike that Holly rides wouldn't be very comfortable for me to ride. That's for sure. I know that already. So, Chopper's Rule 1. I went from a 1000cc Kawasaki to 100cc Kawasaki to a 1000cc Honda big power upgrade. That's a hell of a step.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Honestly, I mean, that's not something I would never recommend. You just got to build your way up gradually, because 1000cc bikes, well, apart from the one we saw last night that wouldn't start, that's not very powerful at all, but in general, they're really powerful. Yeah, I felt really bad there, didn't I? Yeah, it was the brand of bike that I worked for the importers here in New Zealand, and the poor guy was outside the petrol station. Oh, no, fish and chip shop it was. Outside the fish and chip shop. And he was with a group of bikes, and they all got started and zoomed off down the road, and he was there, and he just gave up and started looking at the engine. I was like, I haven't got time to help. I've got to go. It's not every cell in my body wanted to help the guy, but I was knackered. I'd done too much already, so he was on his own. Plus his mates could sort him out. Now then, Found Dead Repairs. Hell of a name. Damn Holly came in, and all the guys started drooling over her. Tool Girl Holly's all mine. Sorry, chaps. Oh yeah, I can believe that for 1 minute. I can. Chopper's Rule. I have been riding a bike from the age of 10 years old. That's probably about the same for me, actually. About 10 years, yeah. So, a long time. Although I don't ride anywhere near as much as I used to do, to be honest, and I do miss it. But any opportunity I get, out I go. I had to go and ride my boss's bike. He says, it doesn't handle very well. And it's a big bike, it's a 1300. And pulled out of work on it and just gave it full noise. And when I got back, one of the warehouse lads said to me, he said, I've seen that bike go in and out of this from work on a regular basis with a boss riding it. And he said, I never knew it went that quick. And it did, it just lifted. The acceleration was just phenomenal, really good. John Melville, changing the steering rack on my Vito was one of the epic struggles of my life. 4 bolts and 2 hoses, but getting it out, well, so it was like one of those like Jenga games, trying to manipulate it out of the actual vehicle. I did a rack on an RRV the other day, last week it was, Monday I think it was, I changed it out. And it's still not the easiest thing to do, to be honest. There's a lot of other stuff you've got to take off first, and the 4 bolts that hold it to the chassis were very, very badly corroded. So yes, not many bolts, but just getting them out was a real palaver. Big problem. Now, we do have some parcels to open, so we need to get those done now, because we're not too far off, another 10-15 minutes, and that'll be the end of the live stream. So if you've got any more questions, do please bring them through. Holly can keep an eye on the questions and keep answering those. I'm going to get these parcels opened up, I think. Okay, all yours. You can steer the ship for a bit. Good luck. They're not a bad group, to be honest. They won't give you too much grief.
Cool. Big Rock says, hi Holly, just wondering how did you get into the trade? So for my, year 11 school at the time, I went to like an alternative education school, and I just wanted to get into the working world as soon as possible. I didn't like doing homework very much, and I thought I like sort of hands-on stuff, and I've always liked cars, I've always liked bikes. I originally thought I might be interested in being a bike mechanic, and then sort of I got to know some people, and they introduced me to more of the car world, the bike world, and when I was at school I needed to do some work experience to get some credits for my NCEA level 1, and I had started to look into mechanics, and my teacher at the time he mentioned that there was a mechanic shop just down the road from that school, so he went down and had a chat to who turned out to had a chat to Kevin, and asked if it would be okay if I spent a couple of days down there doing some work experience, and I was very keen to go down. So started out there, and that ended up turning into a nearly 3-year-long job. I started my apprenticeship, and unfortunately didn't get too far into that before I left and went into the parts side of things. Kill Switch BB, we're an awesome group. Yes, you are. Great questions today. Simon Ball, is there any JIS in them parcels? We'll find out. Des, how did you meet Andy? Andy was my Unitech level 4 pre-trade certification lecturer, and he helped me a lot in that course. I think he was a great lecturer, and will most of the other people in that class agree.
I'm right behind you there. You've obviously got to say any good things about me, haven't you? Good job.
This was for Billy Gang. We're running out of comments now.
Yeah,
Guys,
I always
got
find
next.
that so. You've got to put an infill now and again.
You're better at that part than me.
I'm always full of rubbish to talk about. I know that.
Did you get any trade qualifications during your apprenticeship, like we have city and guilds over here in the UK? No, I didn't, unfortunately. I only got about 7 months into it, and usually apprenticeships take about 3 to 4 years, roughly. I didn't even end up going to any block courses or anything like we do over here. Mike Sansky, Holly, do you have a magic hammer? Not a copper one, but I do have a rubber mallet, which does the job.
You break the crap out of things, like that, don't you?
Yeah.
And my poor old magic hammer at the moment's not looking that magic anymore. It really needs. But in fact, Ben was down the other week and he used it for something, and he looked at it and went, "What the hell have you done to this?" It looks a lot worse than the last time we saw it. So we've got some parcels came in. I've unpacked them already.
Cool.
So Simon, you asked me, or you recommended that I get one of these. Oh, sorry, Holly. There we are. Look, and I've got one. Now this is a. I don't think Holly's seen one of these. You might have had this for a car. I don't know. When you were working with Kevin, but
Great question. But yes.
yeah.
Yes.
See, I've never seen one of these. We just wasn't aware that they existed. So I sort of made up my own tool using a bearing extractor kit and a little slide hammer thing and stuff. So that's what I got. So Simon, thank you very much for recommending that. That is now in my arsenal, and I'll be definitely using it. There was a few on the market, but there weren't very many companies that would ship to New Zealand, unfortunately. And I'm amazed how quickly it arrived. I only ordered this a couple of weeks ago, and it's turned up. So yeah, it looks really, really good. It's obviously all motorcycle size little bits there, look, that splay out inside the piston, and little cute slide hammer. It's pretty cool. So that saved me a lot of time, and it's nice to have a dedicated tool for the job rather than sort of the hodgepodge stuff that I put together. So excellent. It wasn't cheap, I must admit. It was one of the more expensive ones, but it was partly, because the cheaper companies wouldn't ship to New Zealand, unfortunately. But it got in about 2 weeks. Bloody good,
Yeah,
considering the freight problems at the moment. And we've got a project coming up shortly, which has been on hold for the last few months. And I won't say Jared's getting a bit grumpy about it. He's not. He's totally understanding. But we need to get this DR200 finished. So I can get this one out of the workshop. And I'll do some more time on the CB750 as soon as the other parts turn up. But in the interim, I can make a start on Jared's buggy. And for that, I've got to replace, the first job is to replace some of the tubes of the chassis on it, because they're all corroded away. And to do that, I needed a pipe bending machine. So I did actually contact Colin Furs, because he's bought a new one recently. I've seen it in a few of his videos. And I asked him, what brand it was, but I never got a reply. He's got 10 million subscribers, so why is he going to bother to answer an email from me, in all honesty? But such is life. So I had a little hunt around, and I ended up getting this. And it's made by a company called Bramley, and it's a a tube bending tool, which you just bolt to your workbench. And obviously it's just a manually operated one. Was not cheap, $700. That's nearly a whole lawnmower. Honestly, the lawnmower was only 800. Chances are things might fall off, but basically it's quite a heavy thing. This is the main base plate that everything's mounted off. And it's a good 12mm plate. It's pretty hefty stuff. Can you feel the weight? Can you even hold that? You got it?
Yeah, it's quite hefty.
It's really heavy, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I picked that up earlier in the week. Looking forward to using it for sure. And obviously I did check in advance that it will do the diameter pipes and the sidewall thicknesses that I'm going to be using it for. And it comes with some really neat aluminium. Is it called a ferrule maybe? I don't know what you call one of these. A die. But again, very well made. And I think they're New Zealand made actually, Bramley. Let's have a look. Where's it made? Oh, Australia. Oh no, R&R Bramley, New Zealand. Oh yeah. There's the company there. Look on the back. So it's a New Zealand made tool, which is actually quite nice to support New Zealand, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Pretty good. So yeah, there's a little one there. So I think with those two, I think that's the smallest size that I'll be using. And then that one there, look as well. So what size is that? Has it got the sizes on? Oh, they haven't printed the sizes on them. That's not good, is it? You put an extra size on, didn't you? And then there's, I think that's the largest one. So it's got two more larger ones that I won't be using for this particular project, but very much looking forward to using it. I used to have a hydraulic pipe bender in the UK that was like 1 million years old, and we had to replace all the hydraulic pipes because they'd all perished. But man, I could bend up roll cages and stuff on that. It was a really, it never ran out of power. It had so much, with it being hydraulic, the forces were incredible. So there you go. We've got some more tools for the workshop. Just planning ahead for the next project, and of course the piston removing tool as well. That's going to really speed up the servicing of those calipers on the ROVs for me. I am getting quicker at it, but it does depend a lot actually on how badly corroded they are as to how long it takes to recondition them. You know, you can spend a long time doing them sometimes because they've got to be right.
Yeah.
Now, where did we get to on the comments, Holly?
Very from the top, I guess.
John's. Oh, no, the comments are flying. I always find that we lose them off the top. So where did you get to?
I see pipe bender parts. There we go. That's the next one.
John Nuttall. Oh, okay. So we're down the bottom of there, are we?
Yeah.
Here we go. Right. I see pipe bender parts. You do, absolutely. That's what it's all about. John Nuttall. John says, Andy, get Holly's car fixed. Andy really, really wanted to help Tool Girl Holly fix her car. Unfortunately, Andy already had a very, very busy schedule this week, and I just could not cancel what I was already committed to. I'd already made promises to other people in advance.
And I wanted to have a crack at it myself.
You did actually. Holly was really, really enthusiastic about giving it a go, and I think, in all honesty, you surprised quite a few of your work colleagues as to how hands-on the tools you are. Sorry, not how hands-on you are, but how hands-on the tools you are. Just got to clarify that, gentlemen. But yeah, you did a really good job with that. Really, really good job. She did have one problem that related to doing the rack, is that whilst the rack was out of the car, she's going to hate me for this, but the steering wheel got turned a few times too many in one direction.
Yes, because I have an airbag. I should have put a, I'm not sure what they call the tool.
Like a steering wheel clamp, isn't it?
Yeah,
When you do wheel alignments and stuff, you use it usually off the seat or the floor of the car. You can lock the steering wheel in a certain position.
Which somebody found one towards the end of the job, and had I known that we had one from the beginning, I would have used it.
Because you didn't do wheel alignments with Kevin, did you? You didn't have a wheel alignment bay?
No.
So that's why you wouldn't have had one of those tools, I shouldn't think.
No, but in the workshop at work at the moment.
Oh, they will have one.
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah,
because they do wheel
they pull
alignments.
one out at the end of the job.
Yeah, cheers, lads. Bit late. Could have done with that a few days earlier. It might have prevented the problems. So what happened is the steering wheel got turned too many times in one direction because the rack was off, and the clock spring got damaged. So you got quite upset by that, didn't you? To be fair.
Yes, because I didn't speak up and tell anybody don't turn the steering wheel where I should have. I don't like telling people what to do, being bossy when they're only trying to help.
Correct. Yeah, it's a very fine line, isn't it? When you've got people helping you out, doing you a favour, you tend to.
I couldn't have done that job without the help.
No. You're very grateful for them helping out, without a doubt. Yeah, definitely. But it does go to show that how easy it is to not appreciate the fact that there are clock springs in there, and if you do turn the steering wheel too many times, it's going to get broken. Right, what's next? Paul Dunn. I love mechanics. 25 years in the trade, and still love it. I'm 42 from Ireland. Oh, hello Ireland. Good to have you on board there, Paul. I do. I mean, with mechanics, you're always learning. You know, even now, there's lots of stuff that I don't know, and different manufacturers do things in different ways, especially on the older bikes. And that CB750. Look at the front caliper, for example. It's a weird design. Clearly not a very good design because they've gone well away from that nowadays. But just learning about what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, and how the whole thing goes together. It's interesting. It makes it interesting. And when it's interesting, you don't mind doing the work. If you're doing the same job over and over again, it just gets boring and repetitive. And I can see why a lot of mechanics that just do service work just only last maybe 5 or 10 years in the industry, and then they go and do something else because they just get bored, to be honest. And rightly so. Paul Dunn, love to see more girls in the trade. Nice. Yeah, there's still it's really a male-dominated environment. Is the workshop, isn't it?
Yeah, the workshop where I work currently, and that branch is definitely not set up to have a female mechanic in there. So I've noticed.
Do you want to elaborate? There was only proper hand cleaner in the gents' toilets in the workshop. There you go. So, yeah, you got to go in the gents' toilet to get proper hand cleaner. basically.
Yeah, there's a bit of a trade-off between do I walk in the men's bathroom, risk somebody being in there, or do I go upstairs and make the nice and clean women's bathrooms nice and dirty?
And all they had was
Entrance all
like
over the walls.
little Nancy sort of pump dispenser of like scented soap, which isn't going to get your hands very clean, is it, to be fair? Simon, yes. I find you are better to use them to twist the pistons out rather than the slide hammer. Ah, okay. Yeah, obviously just give them a twist as you withdraw them, and it just helps them to ride over the seals a bit easier.
Some pistons have thread on them, don't they?
On the rear calipers that have the handbrake set up on them as well, then yes, you've got to rotate the piston out.
Yeah.
Like Subarus and Hondas and stuff. Yeah, like that. They're always a pain in the ass to do. Again, I'd never come across. We didn't see that kind of stuff on four-wheel drives, and when I first started doing that kind of thing in New Zealand, I was like, "The hell? Who designed this? This is stupid." But you soon get the hang of it, you know. But they're never the easiest thing to work on, especially they're a bit seized up. Now then, Big Rock. Recognise that name. Is that a blind hole bearing extractor? I bought a set for the Rhino. Works fantastic. Well, I suppose you could probably use it for that, but it's not. It's actually just for removing pistons from like motorcycle calipers and stuff. Small diameter pistons, and very, very useful piece of kit. But I have been using up until now my blind hole bearing extractor kit to do the same job, which has worked fantastically well, but is showing now signs of abuse because it's been used so much for that particular application. So I thought it would be a really good idea, given Simon's advice as well, to actually pull my finger out, open the wallet, let the moths escape, and then spend a little bit of my money, my children's inheritance, on a proper tool for the job. So hopefully it's earned me a few brownie points with Simon there. Springy 2112. I agree with trying as many bikes as possible. I've had 52 bikes. So a bike for every year. So he's 53 years old and he's had 52 motorcycles. That is unbelievably good. I am so envious, mate. God, you did a massive garage, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
52 bikes. Because, I mean, don't forget, the rule is that it's same with bicycles. It's N+1. N is the number of bikes that you currently have. And you're always striving for N+1.
Yeah.
Which means that you can't sell your previous bike. You've got to buy another bike
Yeah.
and then another bike, and you just keep all of them. And I must admit, I do regret selling some of my bikes over the years. I used to have an old TDR 250, which was a fantastic machine. Really, really wish I kept that. I had an XR 400, which it was a good bike. Didn't have the electric start, unfortunately, but when it was running, it was an amazing bike. Thoroughly enjoyed riding that, and should never have sold it, but I did. Oh no, I didn't. It got stolen. I didn't sell that. It got stolen, and then 3 years later, I got a phone call from the cops saying, "Oh, we found it. It's in Selby. Do you want to come and get it?" And I'm like, "Well, I can't because the insurance company's already paid me out, so it's not actually my bike anymore." So yeah, it was in a pretty bad state anyway. So, Chopper's Rule. I'm still waiting for a water pump for my CBF Thou. Honda have been waiting 5 weeks now. Wow, 5 weeks. Yeah, that's sort of getting into New Zealand delays for parts delivery. To be honest, it's just the way it is. It's annoying, but it's the way it is. Brian Pinn, check out Colin's latest video. He does say which one it is, but can't remember at the moment. He does. He did, and I have watched it. He did like a little tour of his workshop, some of the new equipment that he bought. But by that point, I'd already ordered this. So that's the way it is. Plus, I had to have what I was going to use here for Christmas, only a few weeks away, because that's when I'm going to start the project. So ordering something from Europe or from the UK, especially of that weight and size, it couldn't be air freighted. It would need to come by snail mail on the ships, and it probably wouldn't be here until January, February time. So way too late. I would miss the boat, so to speak. Ashley, they're called forms. There you go. They said forums then. Forms. Thank you. It's very shiny, isn't it? Change the camera setting straight away. Look. Poor phone. John Melville. I think they're called formers. I have a Hillmore hydraulic bender with formers up to 2-inch for thin wall tube. Well, the one I had in the UK was for pipe. It was for thick wall pipe. It was a very, very beefy piece of kit. Chopper's Rule. If you learn something new every day, it's a good day. I believe that. Absolutely. Dave Eagleton. Ratchet straps work just as well to hold the wheel as well. Ratchet straps work just as well to hold the wheel. Oh, steering wheel. Yeah, it's very difficult sometimes to keep the thread going of all the different conversations and comments that are going on.
Didn't know we had any ratchet straps.
Oh, it's just, it's you were focused. To be fair, you would be focused on doing the rack, and nobody really should have been playing with the steering wheel anyway. Realistically,
they were trying to make sure it was centre. Was all.
Oh, okay. Just well, let's turn it 6 times that way and then line it up. I know. Hindsight's an amazing thing. Paul Dunn, laughing my ass off. Paul Dunn, no hand cleaner. No, not in the girls' lab. Carjacker, hello from Northern Ireland. Well, good morning, Carjacker. Great name. I hope it doesn't reflect your true career path. But anyway, Simon Rawl had a CS5E. I love that back. Does that mean anything to you? CS5E? What's a CS5E?
Don't know.
Simon, you need to tell me more. I don't know what a CS5E is. Atrato 1224, nice bike. Carjacker. What's the most cheap and nasty tool ever bought and regret it to this day? It had to be the CV joint removing tool that one of my students got me. I mean, I paid for it, but he ordered one for himself as well. So he said, "Oh, we'll order 2 and save on the freight." And I was using it. Was my fault. I didn't know, but I used it on the RAV4 for the demo video of using that tool. And of course, I now know that CV joints are not supposed to come off RAV4 drive shafts. They're actually just you replace the whole shaft. And it broke the tool. So it lasted me an hour, and I broke it. And it was so badly bent and twisted that it wasn't even fixable. So it's gone in the bin. And since then, every single CV joint that I wanted to take off, Magic Hammer does the trick first time, every time. So if it doesn't want to come off, I just leave it on. Simple. Get a whole shaft. Now, Simon, have you seen the Big Clive vid? It's about the Chinese bike electric system, all made down to pennies. Wow, I haven't. That's on YouTube, right? The Big Clive vid. I'll check that one out. That sounds very interesting, actually. Springy 2112. Just to be clear, I own 1 bike and have had 52 in total. I wish I had the room and the funds for more than 1. I get you. I understand, and that's the normal thing for people, isn't it? You chop in what you've got to get something that you want next. But it would be nice in a perfect world to be able to just keep all your bikes.
It's a lot easier to go through bikes faster than cars, I think. Tend to keep them for a shorter period of time.
Yeah, I think you're right. You just want different style, Cars are just well, you're going to kill me on this one, but cars are more A to B kind of stuff. Yes. Bikes are, there's a lot more passion about bikes. From my perspective anyway, there is. Here we go. Simon, CS5E is a bike, the one before the RD2. Oh, okay. Well, I should know this kind of stuff because it's made by the people I work for. So that is good to know. Thank you. Chopper's Rule 1. When in doubt, get a bigger hammer. Yeah, or when in doubt, give it a clout. That's what I say. Yes, most definitely. Drew Dastardly. It's bigclive.com and the complete quad bike wiring loom on eBay for $20. Corners were cut. Yeah. £20 for an entire wiring harness. That is ridiculously cheap. And end of the day, you get what you pay for, don't you? There won't be a lot of copper in there, that's for sure. Off-road fan, regarding the steering rack, one of my work colleagues had a very nice motto: I never lose. Either I win or I learn.
Very true.
Brilliant. Yeah, I like that. That's very good.
You lose some money along the process, though.
Yeah. But I mean, the second-hand rack that you got in the end, it wasn't that expensive.
No, it was cheap. It was cheap.
You did all right.
Yeah.
So it saved the day, really. And you've already located a clock spring. That's on its way. So problems are quickly. The boxes are getting ticked off, and life will get back to normal again soon.
Yeah, luck is on my side at the moment.
Luck's always on my side. I don't know why. One day my whole life will just collapse. But I've been a very, very lucky chap over the years. Whether it's riding motorbikes and having near misses and not actually having crashes, to landing fantastic jobs and stuff. I mean, my life's quite flexible. My job is, definitely. I get to take time off when I need time off, and nobody questions it. Right. Smudger Smith 1. Cars are just big shopping trolleys for me. Yeah, to fill up with motorcycle parts. I would agree with you. Simon Roll, £20 with the Stator Reg Rec and CDI. You are joking me. That's almost cheap enough to put in a cracker for Christmas. That is just mental. Carjacker, question for Holly. How many times a day do you have to correct people how your name is spelled? That's a good one. That's a very good one, because so many viewers spell Holly's name wrong.
They do. So similar goes for, obviously, Holly is a
It's a carburetor, isn't it?
yeah.
From the car world.
Yes, yeah, Holly Carbs. That's where
you got
the
it from,
name
isn't it?
came from. I don't tend to correct people.
No, we know what you mean. It's all good, but it annoys me a little bit every now and again. But I don't like to put people down. To be fair, it's try and be as proactive as possible.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about. What's in the spelling? I believe me, I'm not the best at spelling anyway, so I'm not one to talk. We just jumped again. James Webber, talking of carburetors. James Webber, I fixed the hesitation problem with my Yamaha 1300. I sold it and bought a Goldwing. So fixing the problem was selling the bike, not you fix the problem, then sold the bike, then got a Goldwing. I understand. Good job. Well done. Solve the problem, get rid of the problem. Carjacker, have you ever worked on a Rolls Kinardly? No, I haven't. No, not at all. Now then, Drew Dastardly. It's spelt the same as the carb and supercharger company in the USA. Easy to remember. It is. Carjacker, it rolls down one hill and can hardly get up the next. Funny. I thought I recognised that joke coming on, because I'm sure my dad used it years and years ago. A rolls can hardly. Very good. Yeah, there's a few of those in New Zealand for sure. Now then, where are we? Dum. Rowan C. Oh my God, you Holly are live. She is. Look, yes. It's a live video. Good job. Chopper's Rule 1. I would like to build a hot rod, an 1934 Ford Tudor with a 572 big block and an 871 supercharger with 1,500 brake horsepower and 1,500 pounds-feet of torque. Go big or go home. That is just ridiculous, isn't it? I saw a program the other day. It was one night this week while I was watching telly, trying to fall asleep actually, and it was a place that it was a car type Sky program thing. They took this lass out for test drive in this Viper that they tuned to 2,000 horsepower. 2,000 horsepower, and when the guy took off down the street, and I mean this is on public roads by the way as well. They'll probably get into trouble for it, but he just nailed it, and the look on her face, she was just pinned to the seat. Absolutely, she couldn't. The G-forces were just phenomenal, and she went beyond being excited. She actually just got truly scared by the speed this thing took off at. It was
neck snap.
Yeah, pretty much. She was just like, holy, it was just unreal. Good footage, really good footage. Drew Dastardly, Goldwing is an Elvis car on two wheels, lol. Your Goldwings are very, very smooth to ride, aren't they? Big bikes, though. Big, heavy bikes. Ron C. Damn, mate. She is so beautiful. There you are. Look, you see comments. I think she's the best tool girl ever. Man, compliments all around, eh?
You guys are so kind.
And obviously, I'll take the compliment for sourcing Tool Girl Hot. Actually, no, you came to me. You came. You said, Andy, can I be a tool girl on your channel?
No, you had tried to get me on the channel prior.
I had, but maybe I'd sown a seed. Shouldn't say that. Yeah. Maybe I'd sown a seed in your mind.
Yeah.
And eventually, you thought it was a great idea.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very pleased that you did. You came around to it. Thank you very much for putting up with me all these years, honestly. Now then, MG, hello Andy and Holly. Can't believe I've missed today. Had to work. Yeah, it's unfortunate. We've all got jobs to do, and our job for today is right behind us. We've got to crack on with that thing.
If you're catching us now.
Yeah, we're gonna have to get on with it soon, aren't we? Now then, Simon, wait till you've had to do the head stem bearings on a Goldwing. The stuff you have to take off to get to them. Yep, I'll just say no. Actually, I don't want to do those by the sounds of it. That sounds far too much like hard work. Chopper's Rule. I used to own a 4,500 brake horsepower Holden Gemini drag car when I was 19. Best fun I ever had on 4 wheels. Well, I suppose most of the time 2 wheels, because the front aren't going to be on the ground at all, really, are they, on a drag car? That is mental. Imagine the sheer acceleration of something like that. Just push your eyes straight back into your skull, wouldn't it? That kind of stuff. UK Weekend Workshop. If you want high horsepower, then look at tractor pulling. We used to go and watch the tractor pulling in Pickering, and it was phenomenal. And a ZIL turned up. And we used to have a ZIL at the time. It was a Russian 6x6 thing, and he'd obviously put a different engine in. And this ZIL, it outpulled anything and everything that was there. The front end just lifted off the ground, and the back 4 wheels were all that was on the ground. And it would just, because when you're doing a sled pull, the sled gets heavier and heavier as the further down the track you go. And he actually went through the fence. He just kept going off the track. He went through the hedge at the end into the field. And the roar from the crowd was just phenomenal. It was just like, holy shit, he's not just made it to the end, he's just kept going. He was on a mission, this guy. It was brilliant. Ben was so impressed. He says, we've got one of them. I said, Ben, it's not quite the same engine, son. And ours wasn't actually that good at running. It took a bit of starting sometimes. But hey, it's gone now. It's somebody's office. He bought it and put an office on the back of it. Like a porter cabin thing. Now they've got to crack on with these comments. Now then, James Webber. Do you remember the guy in the UK that had a Merlin engine in a car? He owned a transmission business. Wow. That would have sounded phenomenal going down there. Merlin's out of a plane. Oh. Yeah. Huge engine. Very powerful engines as well. Massive engine though. Ross, about time you got finished off. I think you're right. We need to crack on. James Webber. Oh, it went up in flames. Oh no.
Not surprising, really.
Rowan, I just look at her smile, damn, and you are looking good today, Andy. Well, thank you very much. I think it's the glow that comes off Holly that reflects off me, to be fair. Diagrep, Holly, you're a beauty. Big smiley face. Jock Rocker 666. Morning, Andy and Holly. TDR 250. So wish I still had it. Me too. Ben's got one. He's got 2 actually. One's in bits and one's on the road, and he rides it on a regular basis. It's a phenomenal bike. Springy 2112. Andy, did you already cover getting your eyes sorted? Yes, it's all fixed, sort of. It looks okay now. Everyone be careful in the garage. Yeah, it just goes to show that even though I've had to steal bits of shards of metal in my eye before, you know, using just eye protection, just the glasses when you're grinding is not enough. You've got to use a full face mask. And yesterday I did do some grinding on changing the steering head bearings on the bottom bearing to get it off the stem. Yeah. And I wore my full face mask. I did, and I still have 2 eyes, which is great. So it's proof of pudding, you know. Protect yourself, because it's no fun going into hospital and getting a guy to scrape your eye with a needle to get the piece of metal out. It sends home. You think, well, why did I do that? I'm an idiot. I just take the time. 10 seconds to change from the safety glasses to a full face mask, and you're all good to go.
Plan for the worst, hope for the best.
Plan for the worst, hope for the best. Absolutely. Atro. No, Atatro. 1224. Some funny names. I really struggle to pronounce them sometimes. Holly is doing a great job on that DR. You have a great time on it. Yeah, yesterday was a fantastic day. It did start to sour off a little bit on the last video. We've still got problems trying to get the new bearings installed on the rear suspension linkage. I did get up crazy early this morning. Holly doesn't know this yet. She will do in about 3 nanoseconds time. And I've already done some of the work to try and speed up getting this bike to a point where we can get it started today. That still might not happen, to be honest. We've still got a fair bit to do. We will see. Chopper's Rule. I knew I was on a good run when my front wheels didn't touch the ground for the first 1,000 feet. Best 7-second pass ever. Lol. Just steer on the rear wheels. That's all you have to do. Keep a straight line. Good job, mate. UK Weekend Workshop. Back in the late 80s, the tractor Desperate Dad had 5 engines and 7,500 horsepower. Holy shit. Ross, more work, less talk, lol. Missing my automotive fix. I know, we need to get on the tools. We really do. I'm trying to catch up with these comments. James Webber, I wish I still had my CB400F, CB750K2, which is exactly what we've got here, and a Z900. I actually came across another CB750. I'm not sure if it was a K2 or not, over in, where the hell was it? It was out towards Napier. It wasn't Napier, it was just before. I forgot the name of the town now. And it was an orange one, and it was in really good nick, and it was still on the road. And I sent a picture to Alan, and he said, do you think he'll notice if we take the engine out? I said, yes, probably. Chopper's Rule, my last eye operation, I had 8 stitches. What? In my right eye. Felt weird, lol. Well, I don't want any stitches in my eye, thank you. That sounds something like out of a horror movie.
Yeah.
Imagine stitches in your eye. Imagine putting the stitches in your eye. Hold still, mate. We're just going to sew your eye back up. No, I'm not into that kind of stuff. Rowan, I didn't know if you take the last number on a bearing and multiply it by 5, you get the ID. Neither did I. Wow.
Learn something new every day.
Yes, I just make a note of the number and off you go. I'll just measure it. Jim Haynes, have you ever seen a Nitro Harley run? No, I don't think I have, actually. Don't think I have. Anyway, cigarette's gone out. We're all done with the comments. It stopped raining as well. Thank you very much for that. It has, which means the audio is going to be a lot better. In fact, you're going to be able to hear me sigh when things go wrong again. Because yesterday it wasn't good. It wasn't good. Poor Holly had enough, to be honest. But you stuck in there, didn't you? You didn't just like down tools and go home. You did hang around for the sign off.
Yeah.
Okay, crew. Well, it's been fantastic to have Girl Holley here in the workshop to answer all your questions. I hope you've enjoyed it. It's taken a bit of organising. We did try last time, but the weather was atrocious and we'd worked really late that night. So Holly just couldn't quite make it out of bed in time. Plus, it was raining so hard, you'd have got drenched just walking here, wouldn't you? So, you know, fair dues. Things happen for a reason. So for those that have been watching, thank you very much. Those that have watched the entire duration of the live stream and joined in with the comments, very much appreciated. If you haven't yet clicked the like button, then feel free to do so if you've enjoyed the video. One thing you can do to help support the channel is spread the word. Do some links on your social media, tell people that the channel exists, and maybe we'll just get a few more subscribers to the channel. We have now hit 60,000 subscribers, which I think is unbelievable and quite incredible, to be honest. I'm quite humbled by all the support that we get, and still thoroughly enjoy making the videos. I really do. I have to make the effort to make the videos and then spend the time editing them up and things. And for me, at least, doing these live streams, it's a much easier way. Obviously, there's no editing involved and so on, and it's a really good way of engaging with you guys, the viewers, and girls as well, obviously. So thank you very much again for all your support. I'm not going to send you off to the Zazzle website anymore. I think that is over, given the email that I got earlier in this week. But you can support the channel in other ways. You can drop on to Patreon. You become a patron if you like, or you can use the PayPal portal as well, and the email address is andymechanic@live.co.uk. If you've got your toolbox sticker and you haven't yet sent it through a picture, then please get that done. I'd like to have all those in by Christmas. And we will be doing the draw for the Teng tools and the Forge gear and the Andy Mechanic merch at some point, hopefully later on today. If not, it's going to be at a pub in Auckland one evening, because I haven't even made a list of all the names yet. I've been so busy. It's just been ridiculous. But so there is still time. If you've bought something from the Zazzle site, if you haven't yet sent through your selfie with it, then you've still got time to do that, because we're not going to hold the draw until December, and it's not actually December yet, is it?
No.
So really, we shouldn't do it today because it's a bit too early. Okay, crew. Well, until next time, it's goodbye from me.
And goodbye from Girl Holley.
Good job, Holly. Well done. Thanks for making it in.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're a good laugh. All right, crew. Cheers. Over and out.